Boom, 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 boom. Do it, baby. What's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Welcome back. It's the Driverman channel. I am Jose, aka Driverman. I hope that you're doing well. Anybody wanting to learn, customers, drivers, passengers, doesn't matter. Today, I wanted to talk to you about taxi drivers last week picketing at LAX. So, last Monday, not 2 days ago or 3 days ago, depending on how soon I upload this, but last Monday, which would be the 6th, taxi drivers were striking at LAX, demanding that the city officials reinstate the curbside pickup. Now, why is this such a big deal? Because ultimately, taxis were already kind of like dying, as we all know, really struggling. Because they can't really compete with Uber and Lyft's prices. You know, we all know that. It's gone down quite a bit. And the airport was kind of their last resort of getting income, because they were allowed to pick up passengers at LAX every fifth day. And that every fifth day, picking up passengers curbside was allowing them more than half of their income. Not only that, but just the fact alone of being there at the curb gave them really kind of the only chance to compete with Uber. Because if they're taking, people are arriving from their flight, right? And they have to hop onto, the shuttle and go to the, parking lot where the Ubers and Lyfts and taxis are. Obviously, they're going to hop on a freaking Uber or Lyft. Why would they take a taxi at that point, It's cheaper. The main thing as far as taxis was the fact that they're there. You don't have to request a taxi and wait for it. See, when you're getting off of an airplane, of course, you can't really request the Uber or Lyft kind of ahead of time until the plane lands. So you can request it then, but then of course you have to wait because you're in a queue, because we all know how that, big queue is as far as Lyfts and Ubers. It takes a while. It could take a while to get your Uber. Although it is cheaper than a taxi, you do have to wait for it. The advantage was, taxis being right there, anybody who's pressed for time or just wants to get the F out of there, right? They could just be like, hey, taxi, hop in and take me to, 4th and, Monterey or whatever the hell. That was, a convenience that a lot of people are willing to pay for. Just the fact that they could pop right in without having to wait. Now, with that being gone, it's now taxis have no chance at all. That was kind of their last resort to survive, because people who have disabilities or a little bit older would be willing to pay a little bit more for the option of having a curbside pickup. As a matter of fact, they already are. What they're doing is, these people who want curbside pickup, they're paying these private town cars, including Uber Black, which happens to still be able to do curbside pickup, I guess because it's considered a private car, more nicer style luxury car, as opposed to Uber X or anything like that. Those can't. So, they're stating, of course, that benefits Uber, not them. Duh. So, Uber is still getting some curbside pickups. Taxis aren't getting any. How could that not? Taxis have gone down. The taxi ridership between 2013 and 2018 has gone down 77% because of Uber and Lyft's, cheaper pricing and convenience and things like that. Taxis were only taking up about 4% of the curb. Meanwhile, Uber and Lyft together were taking up 11%. So, their argument is, hey, we can relieve the congestion on the shuttles. I mean, there's a lot of crowding with these people waiting for the shuttles, and then these shuttles are getting overfilled because there's so many people needing to get on them, trying to hail an Uber and Lyft, that by allowing taxis to pick up curbside, they're saying at least half of those people in line would hop in and take a taxi, relieving some of that crowding, and it would benefit the taxis. But LAX, I guess they don't care. It's not their pocketbook that's being hurt. They're not being, damaged by taxis making less money. and they're stating that they just can't do it. At the moment, they're saying that with the construction, they don't have the curb space. Now, part of the construction is, of course, the remodel of LAX. It's a big project going on. The other reason that it's happening, though, is because of the Summer Olympics that are coming up. So they want to have that people mover that they have been approved to design to get people out of there into a a local train station, or directly to a rental car facility from the airport, which has never existed. They want to get that done. They're supposed to be getting that done by 2023. The idea, of course, it being ready to go before the Summer Olympics in 2028, which will make, things just even more chaotic, like, as if they couldn't really be more chaotic, seeing as LAX is the country's second busiest airport. So that's that's their argument. It makes sense. Are there any taxi drivers that watch me? If you are, feel free to leave a comment. What do you think? Obviously, you would love to have curbside pickup again, because it's detrimental to whatever success you still can have. Because it's really more the fares that you'd be getting at the airport, that you get at the airport, are typically more plentiful and lucrative than at hotels or street hails. One main reason being is that at a hotel, of course, there's curbside pickup regardless. Anybody can hail an Uber or Lyft and just wait, with the bellhop guy with their luggage until the Uber or Lyft arrives, hop in, and then boom, they don't have to, hail a taxi. Curbside is there for them. Same thing with the street hail. Anybody, leaving their house, of course, is going to choose an Uber or Lyft. If they're leaving the bar at 2 o'clock in the morning, generally, they don't need to hop into a car right away. They're there with their buddies. They can request the Uber or Lyft and then wait the few minutes for, the Uber or Lyft to arrive. They're not going anywhere. They're just, standing there, allowing the, drunkenness to sink in more, or maybe start to wear off a little bit. And then they can hop in the Uber and head home. There's really no need for them to rush into a taxi, which is why the taxis can't really, rely on that as much. They're more needed at the airport, is where they would actually be more likely to be taken, because they're right there. And people getting off, leaving the airport, they're tired and they just want to get home, or they don't want to wait. Some people don't want to wait and they just want to get the heck out of there. That's pretty much the only place where that applies. Any other, location, people in general, it seems that most of them would be okay with waiting the few minutes for the Uber or Lyft, especially since they can pick them up curbside and there's no rush, and they're maybe not that tired, and they don't have to deal with, the hassle of having to go somewhere else to get one. Yeah, guys, not an easy thing. Definitely not an easy thing. I can totally relate. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, what do you think? How would you feel if LAX happened to just say, yes, okay, curbside pickup, but only for taxis? How would you feel about that? Me, myself, if I was still driving Uber, it wouldn't bother me, really. I don't think it'd bother me that much, because we already have a big enough advantage over the taxis as it is. Uber and Lyft is already crushing, them in pretty much every other area. So to deny them their one shot at, surviving, with it being, more than half of their income typically, no, why take that away from them? I would say I would totally be in favor of them just reinstating it specifically for taxis. Let them, make their money and survive. Those guys who've been driving, yellow taxi for like 17 years, 27 years, whatever. I mean, yeah, that's their thing, and they got to feed their families. I get it. People who've been doing it a long ass time. That's, what else are they going to do, Unless they want to quit and start driving for Uber and Lyft, which I know a lot of people have done. But then there's the downsides of that, not making as much money, and not having the benefits, especially with Uber's, defiance against that whole thing. Like I said in my last video, they're making those changes to the app here in California, specifically so that they don't have to make them employees like taxi drivers. and still not have to comply with a lot of local laws. That's the other reason why taxis have gone down quite a bit, and Uber and Lyft has had the unfair advantage, was because, you know, they haven't had to comply with the, you know, local regulations, because, you know, they're not, you know, taxi. They're a company. They're, you know, they're an app, you know, or a tech company, as Uber likes to say. So feel free to chime in, guys. Let me know what you think. Taxi drivers, I wish you the best. It doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, but if it were up to me, I would give you the curb space, so that you can continue to, you know, eat, and provide for, you know, your loved ones. It's the least you could have, you know, last chance at, you know, having at least some income, you know, some advantage over us in at least one area. I'm okay with that. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not driving Uber or Lyft anymore. Even if I was, you know, like I said, there's still plenty of other chances for me to get rides that you guys won't, because of, you know, the cheapness of it. So, yeah, guys, feel free to chime in. Enjoy the rest of your week, and boom, boom, do it, baby.